Hi, I'm Chas, and you're watching Chas's Crazy Creations. Head over to Dollar Tree and grab a few supplies for these awesome spring DIYs and crafts. Let's get started. For this first DIY, I had a pair of socks, and I filled one of the socks halfway up with some beans. I grabbed a rubber band and tied that around the top. Then I squeezed the center section and I added a second rubber band. This would create a head and a body. I then grabbed a pair of scissors and I cut down the top of the sock and then hot glued it together to create a couple of ears, gave it a little shape and added some more hot glue. Then I added a bow. I turned it around and added a piece of a headband for the tail, and then I added another ribbon for the neck. I also added some eyes and a nose and created this super fun bunny. Here is the back and here is the front. And this is such a cute and easy and inexpensive project to make. Now let's move on to the next one. For this project, I poked a hole in the top and the bottom of a plastic egg. I grabbed some fishing line and then I threaded it through the bottom of the egg, through the center, and then up through the top of the egg and closed the egg up. I continued doing this with several eggs until I created a whole line of eggs on the fishing line. I pulled out some extra through one end of the egg line and then made a little loop. I spaced the eggs out and then I used hot glue to keep the string attached to the egg in the correct place. I did this for all of the eggs. I created several strands of these egg lines and then I hung them up into my tree. Here's the tree all finished and I love how it turned out. I can leave this up all spring long. For this project, I grabbed a cutting board from the dollar store. I added a little glue to the top, placed some ribbon into the glue, and then marked a zigzag pattern on the cutting board. I then continued to hot glue the ribbon down the cutting board in that zigzag format. I took some dollar store greenery and then I placed it in through the widest part of the ribbon and pushed it down in. I tied a little bow with some extra ribbon and I hot glued it into the front of the carrot to give it a nicer look and cut off the ends. From here, I flipped it over and I added some twine to the back so that I'd have a way to hang this cute little carrot. I hung this up on our front door and I love how it turned out. I love that I'll be able to leave this up all season long. Which one is your favorite so far? Let me know in the comments below. Now, on to the next project. For this project, I grabbed a paper bag and I traced a bunny shape onto it. I cut the shape out as this would be my template. I placed my template onto one of those dollar store garden kneeling pads, and then I traced it. I used a serrated knife that I got at the dollar store. You could use any tool of your choice. And I cut out the shape of the bunny on the kneeling pad. I hot glued on some buttons for some eyes and nose on this bunny. I cut out a piece of twine and I made a little loop and then glued it to the back so that I could hang it. For an alternative idea, I took a gray kneeling pad, placed the template on, traced it, cut it out, and then I glued on a little pom-pom for a bunny tail. I made 3 of these total, and you can make as many as you'd like. I hung 2 of them on my railing and 1 on my front door. And once again, something I can leave up for the entire spring season. Now, on to the next project. For this project, I took some wine glasses from the dollar store and I spray painted those orange. While those were drying, I grabbed a flower basket from the dollar store and hot glued on a little pom-pom to the bottom of it. I then used a placemat and cut out some feet shapes and then used their adhesive vinyl to make the little bunny feet accents. I hot glued the feet onto the flower basket so that it looked like a bunny burrowing into the ground. I cut some green tinsely pieces off of a birthday centerpiece from the dollar store, and then I grabbed my orange glasses that were now dry and painted some brown stripes on them. And then I hot glued those tinsel pieces to the top to look like carrots. Now it's time to set them up in the yard. I placed the carrots into the ground like they're growing into the grass, and then made a little mulch circle, placed the bunny butt in the center of that, and it looks like the bunny's crawling back into the ground or into the garden. I just loved how this little garden and yard display turned out. Now, on to the next project. I found a little bunny kit at the dollar store. I pulled it apart and cut out the ears and used some of the pink to make the ears for this next craft that I was going to need it for. I grabbed a dollar store hat and then I glued the ears onto the hat. I added some ribbon around the hat and then I added some flowers to the top of the hat. I used the other felt pieces from the bunny kit to add a face to my bunny, and then I used some of the white pieces to cut out some whiskers and added those to my bunny as well, and I hot glued all of that into place. I added some additional ribbon to the bottom, as well as some additional flowers to the hat until I got the look that I wanted. I was able to use the elastic on the back to hang this hat up. For this project, I took several boxes in a variety of sizes and wrapped them with white tablecloth paper. I covered the front of each box with white felt from the dollar store craft section. For 2 smaller boxes, I'd cut a headband off of a Dollar Tree bunny ear headband and placed that on the top 2 small boxes. Next, I added a face to the middle box and a scarf around where the neck would be. For the biggest box in the bottom, I used some white and some purple felt to make some overalls, and I added some buttons and some stickers to give it some texture and some fun. I stacked all of the pieces together to make this fun bunny. This was such an easy project, and I think kids would have fun putting it together, pulling it apart, and putting it back together again. Now we're not done yet, but if you want to be notified of future videos, look for the link in the description below. Now this can be done all spring and all summer as soon as flowers start to bloom. Cut your flowers and then press them between 2 pieces of paper towel and a book. Wait till they're completely dry before moving on to this next step. I grabbed an empty vase that I wasn't using and I placed a decal of a dragonfly my mom had given me on one side. Here's a look at the dried flowers, and now I'm going to place a layer of Mod Podge onto the vase. I then place the dried flowers on top of the Mod Podge, and then I add another layer of Mod Podge over the top, sealing the flowers in. I can do this on all sides of the vase, and I waited for it to dry completely. Now I have this beautiful vase that I can use to hold more flowers, or it can hold other items like pens or organizational things, and I'm going to actually add a candle to mine. Now let's move on to the next project. For this project, I placed water in 4 different containers, and then I added different colors of food coloring to each container and stirred them up. I took some dollar store doilies and placed them into each of the mixtures of food coloring and water. I rinsed the doilies out and then I hung them up to dry. Now you can place these anywhere you want in your home. I'm going to be using them as placemats all spring long. For this project, I found a ceramic bunny at the thrift store. I painted it with some liquid leaf gold paint and let that dry completely. Now I took a plain Jane thrift store bunny and turned it into something I could find at Pottery Barn. Alternatively, you could spray paint it with some silver spray paint as I did with this other one here. Or another option is to paint that ceramic bunny with a bunch of Mod Podge. Then sprinkle on a bunch of glitter, take it outside and spray it with more Mod Podge so that the glitter stays in place. Let it dry completely, and here you have a beautiful disco glitter bunny that you can use all spring long. And I hope this inspires you to create some spring crafts of your own. I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel and my blog at chascrazycreations.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Want 21 sensible home hacks to make you a smarter homeowner? Look for the link in the description below.